The beginning, baby.
We're gonna start still in the middle of the story, but we're gonna start when the moment I realized I had a shot at this thing.
Okay.
And the way this unfolded was I play my freshman year at Stanford, which we can also go back in time and figure out how the heck did a kid from Colorado, a ski state, actually get to Stanford to play tennis. That's kind of a crazy one. But I play my freshman year at Stanford. I'm playing number five singles. I go 22 and 4 that year. So I'm winning. I'm finding ways to win, but I'm playing number five singles. In tennis, the top six players in college play in the starting lineup. But if you're
Okay.
playing number five, even on Stanford, which is top in the country, you're not going to go pro. You got to be playing one or two or maybe three. Okay. So I'm playing five singles and I go 22 and 4. But what people don't know, unless they're on the inside, I had the worst serve in college tennis. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but imagine you're a baseball pitcher and you're on your college team and your top end speed is 82 miles an hour, you're not going to the big leagues at 82 or 85. Okay. You got to throw cheese. And so in tennis, I got the worst serve in college tennis. I'm double faulting. I'm spinning it in. I can't break 100 miles an hour as a 19-year-old. Again, to give context, guys like Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner now, these guys were serving 120 miles an hour when they were 19. Okay.
Mm.
So I play my freshman year. I go play in these low-level satellite tournaments. Again, imagine single A baseball. Like it is like the lowest level, maybe not even single A. You're kind of like, especially qualifying, you're playing like a independent league almost. And I go and I cannot qualify out of these low-level pro tournaments. So if you're 19 years old, you're not qualifying and you have a crappy serve, you're going to get a day job when you graduate from college. That's what's going to happen. So I'm not qualifying. And at this point, there was a fork in the road. Everyone was going to go play for another month at pro tournaments before the college season, before the school year started. And I was like, you know what? This makes no sense. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and again and expecting different results. So I go back to Denver, which is not where you play in the summer. And I'm watching Wimbledon that year. There's this guy named Goran Ivanišević. He won Wimbledon several years later. He's a lefty. He's from Croatia. He serves 125 or 130 miles an hour. He's got this big serve, kind of a funky motion. And I'm watching him at Wimbledon play on TV because we didn't have YouTube back then. We didn't have video analysis. There weren't coaches breaking down the serve. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go out on the court and I'm just going to model him. I'm going to copy his serve, his version of the serve. So I take a hopper of balls out to the Denver Tennis Club, and I start tweaking and experimenting. And kind of like magic, something clicked. And I was like, oh, I'm on to something. So the entire summer I was working on this serve. At the same time, I grew a few inches, which is not normal at 19 to grow 2 or 3 inches. I put on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle and I changed my serve and I added 20 miles an hour to my serve that summer. So I
Wow.
go back to college that fall, my sophomore year, and the coach took one look at my serve and he was like, what did you do? And I was like, I just copied Goran. And he's like, well, you're playing number two singles this year because now you're a serve and volleyer. Now you are a player. And it was at that moment in my career, I got kind of chills thinking about it. It was like, holy cow, I just transcended. I just transformed. I just did something within myself that is very rare. And now I have a shot. And before
Totally.
that, I had no shot. That one event in time where I changed the trajectory of my life changed my life because now I go play pro tennis instead of getting a real job.
Yeah, totally. Do you feel like what percentage would you attribute your going from 5 to 2 singles? Would you attribute to the 2 inches higher that you or 2 inches you gained in height, or the change in serve style? Like did the or like and you increase your serve by 20 miles per hour. How much was that because you grew and you got bigger versus the change in style?
I think it's a combination of both. I do think it was more heavily weighted towards the change in technique, only because I feel like if I would have grown 2 inches and just kind of kept the mentality and the way I was serving, it wouldn't have made as much impact. Certainly
Yeah.
the physical helped, But I do think it was this shift in how I approach my serve, the motion. There's power in modeling. Tony Robbins talks about it. Others talk about like find people or teams that are doing what you want to do and go find what their secret is. And I was doing this intuitively without knowing what I was doing. And just copying the best in the world allows you to uncover something. And so I do think it was more of that discovery of that other player, Goran. But certainly the physical part helped. I was a late bloomer. I've always been a late bloomer. And there's a testament to that because I knew how to win without a big serve.
Yeah.
And then got in a big serve. It's kind of like Andy Roddick. Andy Roddick was 14 years old. He had a bad serve. He was kind of a grinder. And one day he got pissed off and he tossed the ball and he hit it as hard as he could and it went in. And he was like, oh. And then his serve changed. And then he goes on to win the US Open and be number one in the world with an accident, almost an accidental thing that happened. And that was similar to me. I call it an accidental transformation. I'm probably not giving myself enough credit because there was thought around it. It was like, I'm not going to play these pro tournaments. I'm going to go change. I'm not going to follow the herd. I'm not going to follow the flock. I'm going to follow my own path because I know I need to get better. And I think that takes curiosity, openness, innovation.